Live. Join the conversation now. Email your questions to info@midsouthaudio.com or call us live on the air. 302-491-6484.
Hey now.
Tech Talk Live.
Hey now. This is December 17th. And I think this is episode 30, I believe?
30, yeah, 3-0. The big 3-0.
Oh, yeah, Gino's on.
Somebody's,
And I'm not on for some
There's your
reason.
latency.
yeah, there you go.
I don't know why that's not working.
I'll get you.
All right.
Okay, we're ready to go. Believe it or not, this is a professional audio
Almost.
show.
Yes.
Where are we getting?
We're on delay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, hang right in there. We'll be right with you.
Yeah, exciting show here on Tap tonight,
Yes.
and it's
Keep
starting off
talking.
with a bang.
Keep
Welcome
talking.
to Tech Talk Live. This is a monthly show, and we're actually a couple weeks earlier, a week and a half early.
We are.
Typically, it's the last Tuesday of the month, but with Christmas being on the 25th this year, as it normally is.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah.
They've changed it. Yeah.
Right. So we're here. We're here a week early, and Kevin, are you ready to go?
Well, yeah,
Welcome to your show.
I'm having computer issues, but yeah, I'm ready to go. So yeah, this is our end of year. This is our Christmas special, end of year special. You know, if we were 30 years older, we'd be Bing Crosby right now. So or who else did Christmas specials? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dean Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
All those guys.
So, but yeah, we're here. So, and hopefully people will. We've sent out emails and let them know that we're going to be early because they're used to the last Thursday of the month. But I think that would be Christmas Day, right?
Last Tuesday.
Yes, last Tuesday of the month, Kevin.
Yeah.
Welcome
It's-
to the
it's-
show
it's-
again.
It's a tea day. All right.
Yeah.
We had a rule.
It ends with a Y.
We weren't allowed to eat pasta before the show.
That's it.
And we realized when we were in the middle of eating the lasagna that we made that rule because the last time we did it, it made us extremely tired. And guess what?
We had to nudge Kevin before he came on to hook him
Hello.
up.
Wow.
Hey, we've got some great
Yeah.
giveaways tonight, Kevin.
Because it's Christmas.
That's right, because
And we're
it's
in
Christmas.
the spirit of giving.
Well,
so.
the big prize. I'll let you go ahead. Should we save the big prize for tonight?
Tonight our sponsor guest is going to be Harrison Mixbus, and they're going to be giving away a lot of stuff. They're going to be giving away their software and a whole list of plugins, and I've got a list here that I'm not finding.
$600 and some dollar value.
Yeah,
is that correct?
$600 and some bucks. Yep.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but that's in the 8 to 8:30 segment. Between now and then, we're going to be giving, in our normal hour broadcast, we're going to be giving away a AKG D5 microphone.
This is from Mid-South Audio?
Yeah, special criteria for this. You've got to call in. We're going to take like a certain number caller. We'll talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
So, and then because tonight we're broadcasting on Facebook Live on the Mid-South Audio page. We're broadcasting on the Harrison Console Facebook page. And we're also broadcasting, as we have been for the last few months now, on TV Delmarva.
Exactly.
So to view TV Delmarva at home, you need a
Roku.
Or a Amazon Fire Stick.
Or just a computer or a phone at tvdelmarva.com.
We're giving away a Roku box to someone.
Right. Now, you can tell the different budgets of these companies that are giving things away. So Harrison Mixbus is giving away, almost a $700 retail value prize. Kevin's giving away, what's this? This is like $100, $110?
Yeah.
So, and we're at the $29.95 at TV Delmarva.
But it's a Roku box.
But it's still a prize.
It's
so
a Roku box.
there you go.
Exactly.
So yeah, we got some people are tuning in here, so it's
Okay,
all
great.
it's all starting to go. In fact, we've got quite a few people watching. So
Really?
how do you want to give this stuff away? I mean, we can start taking questions, but do we just? I think we just need to give it to a random caller.
Just a caller.
What's the number?
302-491-6484. 302-491-6484.
6484.
And it's going to be popping up on the screen here any minute.
So how about if we just take the second caller that calls in, and we'll give them the Roku box. We'll start with that.
Caller
How
number
about
two.
caller number two? We'll
Okay.
go back to our early radio
Yeah,
days.
that's
Just
right.
take caller number two.
All right, Kevin has
So-
the radio voice too, as you
Yeah, I don't know.
as you hear here. So
That's just
I'm going to start
congestion.
with a question here, an email question from Jerry. I saw the specs of a passive crossover that
Oh,
it
boy.
was an LCR circuit. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, I can.
I can take a guess.
Well, it's not left, center, right.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Linear curve.
No. An LCR circuit is where L would be the inductor, C would be the capacitance, and R would be the resistance.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
in a LCR, in a crossover circuit, you need those three components to have a filter. So that is that's a basic crossover. So what do you say? I saw the specs of a passive crossover. It was an LCR circuit. Well, what does that mean? Well, that just means that's the tuning part of that crossover that gives it the center frequency and shows it where to according to that. The combination of the inductance and the capacitance and the resistance is where that crossover rolls over.
Can we talk about what a passive crossover is?
Yes, and so these are all passive devices. So you'll see something in a crossover. We probably should have brought one and showed. You'll see like a big coil, and that's usually the inductor. An inductor is a short for DC or for AC voltage. So it's an open to DC. Not too much pasta. A inductor is an open for DC voltage and is a short to AC voltage. So then there's a capacitor which does the tuning, and then a resistor which is just a resistive element that tunes those other two elements to make it. So a crossover, what does it do? It divides the frequency. So you have a full range signal that's going in. If you had a simple crossover with one crossover point, a two-way crossover, then everything below the center frequency would pass in the low output. Everything above the center frequency would pass in the high output. So without being really prepared to answer that question, that's about all I can come up with.
Okay.
But an LCR circuit is like that's the original building block of a crossover network, of a passive crossover network.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. Katie, you have an online question for us already?
We do. Regarding the prizes, are they only available to people who live in the U.S.?
Yes.
Yes.
Because we got to ship them.
Wow.
Yes.
I never even thought about we're going to have to
Sorry,
ship them.
We're gonna have. I forgot we have international viewers.
Sorry, Pedro.
Oh, man.
But you don't have to be a U.S. citizen. You just have to have a U.S. address.
No documentation.
No
needed.
documentation required.
That's
yeah,
right.
there
All
you
right.
go.
Very good.
So, all right. So second caller, number once again 302. Colin, I'm pointing at you.
Oh,
Sorry.
302-491-6484. Is that a nice way to tell me to pay attention?
Yeah, well, no, it's because I didn't write the number down. So
302-491-6484. Give us a call right now. Caller number 2
yeah, it gets the Roku box.
gets the Roku box.
Yep. So I know everybody was taking notes on that LCR answer, so they can put their pencils down and pick up the phone and call me.
They were waiting for you to draw a diagram,
Yeah.
Kevin. That's what it was.
Well, yeah, I could do that, but you wouldn't be able to read it.
All right. Are you ready for an...
Because the symbol for an inductor and a resistor is so close. An inductor is like a coil. It's like a kind of a circly, kind of little coily snake-looking thing, and a resistor is like got edges. But when I draw them, they both look the same, so you can't tell the difference. So
Right. He's
capacitor, I got. It's just two lines.
an electronics guy, not an artist.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, believe me.
Are you ready for an anonymous question from New Jersey?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. And it's a...
Da-da-da-da.
I thought it was a long question
I'm at my wit's end.
until I
Start
saw
going.
the long question.
Yeah, there is one coming. So hold
Kevin
on.
said there's a long question, and I said, oh, I see it. It's right here. First one, he said, no, that's not the long one. All right, here we go. I'm at my wit's end with a drummer in the band I mix for. With the exception of dynamics, he is a very good drummer. It's the lack of dynamics that make my job hell. Unless we are on a large stage, which very seldom happens, he plays at full volume all the time. He constantly breaks sticks and goes through a snare head or broken snares about every 10 gigs. I can't get through to him. I repeatedly. Repeatedly. Well, I think it's supposed to be repeatedly.
It could be,
but that's fine. Repeatedly ask him to play softer when we're in a small place, but he just won't change. We have a very small but nice rig, powered speakers and powered subs, but because of his hard hitting, I can rarely put him in the mix. I've tried talking to him, and my last resort, I stopped putting mics on his kit. I mean, why not? I don't use them anyway. That just pissed him off. Okay. We played a private party this summer. It was a gig when I did mic the drums, but never had them in the mix. The guy that hired the band got a few drinks in him and asked to sit in with the band. He played 3 songs. On the first one, our drummer came to me and gave me a hard time because the drums didn't sound good. He was right. I was working on that because we had played 3 sets without the drums on, so we made the switch, and I was scrambling. One other problem is that he causes the rest of the band to play louder, so most nights it's just vocals in the mix. It's not much fun anymore. I wanted to see if you had any advice. Unless this changes, I'm going to look for another gig. I've always enjoyed mixing, and the band is popular and gets paid well. That makes it harder, but it may be my only solution. Thanks for taking my question. One more thing. I really wanted to win the Ultimate Support Systems mic stands a few months ago. I participated in the last half hour and thought I had a good chance, but it went to someone else.
So Mr. Anonymous just had to get that complaint in. Yeah. He didn't win.
So
yeah. Okay.
So
I'm going to defer to someone else on the panel.
Oh, I thought this was Kevin's advice line.
No. I'll let them talk.
Dynamics.
Gino?
I can't make it. The only thing the drummer has to figure it out. And if it's you teaching him a lesson and, finding another drummer, drummers have to be able to play soft, working drummers. It's a struggle, because it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do, play soft and with intensity as a musician, So when you're playing hard, it's easy to dig in and get intense on stuff, but when you're playing soft, you still need that same intensity. So but your drummer has to be able to get there and be willing to get there. There is no right or wrong here. He either has to figure it out or just I don't know. I hate to tell you to get a new drummer.
Yeah. Well. Hey, who's the band that plays Sunfest or Springfest every year that has the drummer that
the Mad drummer?
Yeah, he's gone. He's no longer with Rick Kay.
With Rick Kay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it could have been an ego clash. I don't know. But he is. I just heard that the other day. He's no longer with us.
No, it's a tough thing.
Even he played dynamically.
Yeah, he would play. Yeah. He would play soft. And if you've ever look up the Mad drummer, and he's like one of the best drummers you've ever seen. It's a crazy looking thing, But yeah, I mean, your drummer has to figure it out. Now, like I said,
Austin, you want to take a shot at this one?
I mean, there's always drum shields.
There's drum shields and electronic drums.
Drums sound bad, but
in a club that's not going to work though because it takes way too much room.
Just make it, just to prove a point to the guy. Is sort of what I was thinking. You write drum shield of shame on it and then put it up in front of his kit.
Right. Come on, dude.
We do have a show note here.
Okay.
Michael from Harrison Mixbus messaged us and said that the Mixbus console can be sold or given away globally because it's a download. So
okay.
Yeah, so no shipping involved in that.
Yeah, there you go. And for that prize, yes.
For that prize only. These here are.
And I'm glad they weighed in on that because I wasn't even thinking about that. I was concerned about having to pay the international shipping.
He was just worried about it.
To send out a microphone. Right. So thank you, Michael, for clearing that up.
I mean, the only other thing, thinking about just the solution to this is somebody maybe just needs to record them, from the audience.
I guess I'm pretty sure that Katie's not going to share Tony Broadbent's comments.
What's that?
Let's move on.
Let's just move on.
Okay, next question. Did we get? Did we have the number?
Do we have the second call yet? I saw one call. Are we waiting? We need to get some phone calls.
Okay,
that's what we need to do. We got plenty of viewers, and right now will be a good time to share the show too. If you're watching for the first time, hit the share button and share it with your friends. So, in fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to share the show.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to read the next question. This comes from Linda from Seaford, Delaware. We have a speaking role for Santa in this year's children's Christmas program. Our sound guys are having trouble using wireless microphones on him. Lots of noise from his jacket or a muffled sound when they use a microphone like our pastor uses on his face. Do you have any suggestions? Would you please reply by email? We need a solution before your next Facebook.
Yeah, well, we missed that.
missed that one, yeah.
I'm gonna go with hair mic, like they do with most Broadway shows. That's about because of normal
assuming he's
over the
wearing a
ear
fake
mic
beard.
is not gonna. That's what I'm assuming. Yeah, he's probably got a big old fake beard, so
Right.
no over the ear mic's gonna work. It's in the beard, and then the lapel mic's getting covered.
Hair mic, so they might not have that in their whatever they have, I guess.
But you can rent them.
You can rent them.
Yeah,
You do rent them. Okay, that was my
you
question.
can rent them.
Most Broadway shows, that's what they use.
Okay, well, this is in Seaford, so it's Seaford Broadway. So,
But they use them for that reason. Because
yeah,
they do
exactly.
They do get caught in costumes.
They also get they get used a lot with any actor that has a lot of quick changes.
what is a hair mic? I'm not. I've probably
Actually
seen it and
goes
just
in your hair. It just comes right out
It's
here.
pretty much like a miniature lapel mic,
like a
but it's
little lapel
designed to
that-
go in your hair.
and you
sit
don't
here.
notice them as much, or
Well, you looks like a little mole. Right?
Except for
close enough.
Kevin and I,
Yeah, yeah. We're kind of out of the hair mic.
In that case, we'd call them wig mics. So.
Yes.
okay. All right, moving on. So that's the solution. Linda, get up with Mid-South Audio. They can hook you up with a hair mic, and that should take care of your problem.
Who's got a pen?
I've got a bunch of them here.
Okay, cool.
Next question.
302-491-6484 is the number. Wow, this is a huge pen.
That's compliments of WRDE. Bob
This is for
Bachman
anyone
and WRDE.
who's watching the show on their smartphone, and the pen doesn't look big enough. This one now look like it's like a giant duck decoy. From a distance, it still looks like a full-size duck.
Right.
So,
Andy from Wildwood, New Jersey. On your last show, you discussed a wireless video camera setup. Could you recommend a wireless system? We would like to add some roaming camera shots to our pre-service video. A system that would let us roam around the stage, sanctuary, and lobby would be great. Is it possible to get a camera and wireless system for $12,000 to $15,000?
Michael,
Well,
Patrick, are you watching?
yeah, but if Patrick's watching, he can chime in. The main system I know of is I think it's Teradek. It's the main company, and they have different models, pretty much. I think depending on how far you need to go, but the biggest thing is line of sight. Typically, is the best. So if they're trying to go in multiple rooms, that gets really tricky. You're gonna have to go with. I mean, you could spend that much money on just the wireless,
Right.
but they do make their more affordable option where you could do a camera in that range, but line of sight's important. Most churches, if they have it, they're mounted somewhere discreetly on, like if it's a stage mic, it'll be on the side wall of the stage. You want to keep the distance as close as possible to avoid latency.
But if they're going out and
issues.
trying to go through walls with it, it's probably going to have some latency at least, and maybe some dropouts.
That gets tricky. Yeah, they don't want to go with one of the nicer ones and probably put it near the back wall of their sanctuary. It just depends on where they're trying to use the camera and other elements of the space. Certain spaces may have a lot of wireless congestion going on that might make it drop out more often.
This is a live show, and sometimes with live shows we have some technical difficulties, but that's the second message we've had that says the phone line's not receiving calls.
Really?
Yeah, so can we test that maybe?
I will test that.
Maybe one of our
I'm gonna try it
one of
right
the
now.
members of the engineering staff here could check that out. Oh, you're going to call from one line to the other? There we go. This is high tech.
Okay, here we go. Try to call now.
Okay.
We just, that's how good we are here. We fixed it.
You fixed it, so it was not receiving calls. Okay. All right.
All
well,
fixed.
Let's
All
see.
right, it's a race now.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, there
race-
multiple
a
people
race
were
for
saying it was
second.
busy for them too. Okay, so sorry. Well, at least we tried to do this,
Right.
so we didn't find out that we weren't receiving any calls. Because D couldn't have called in. And
Oh,
our
there's one
favorite
call.
caller. There's the first call.
Yeah.
So see, this is I couldn't believe we couldn't give this stuff away.
That's how bad we don't want to give this stuff away.
we're taking the phone off the hook.
Think
Right.
there's a second
This
call.
this represents the year's profit for our business, and if we give it away, we have.
That used to be an old trick in radio. You would have some ridiculously expensive prize, and then they would just tell you you would never have that number caller. So you tell everybody they have the wrong number, and then I never did that. I heard it happen. So
Right.
I know, I'm serious. I never participated in that, Jimmy Q. Anyway, so we're our second caller. We can put them on the air. Let's get them.
We're
Screening
we're working
them?
on it. Yes.
Okay.
Katie is screening.
She's making sure they live in the U.S.
She's practicing her wrong
Yes.
numbers. Wrong numbers.
She's making sure they live in the U.S. or they're not trying to collect a debt.
I think she was still talking to caller one.
Sorry about that. 302-491-6484, and we're going to do that same method for the other prizes. So, well, for our prizes, not for the mix bus.
The Harrison Mix Bus. How did they win the Harrison
They
Mix
got to
Bus?
participate in which calling would help. That would be good. But we're not going to just take random calls. We have to participate and actually.
And these are this is in the last half hour of the show.
Yep,
We're going to
Facebook
have
comments or questions on Facebook.
But right now, we're just trying to give away some of this extra swag that we have because it's Christmas.
It's Christmas,
and we're feeling
exactly.
festive. Look at this. We're sitting in front of holly and.
I did not even see that. I haven't turned around
And
yet.
we have the little
we have
MSA logo, Christmas logo.
I did see that.
Yeah, the night scene.
Oh, it's even in
That
my
night
shot.
scene.
I didn't even.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
look
but sure.
Christmas tree on your shoulder. All right, here we go.
Are we on the second caller yet? She's still. Apparently, there's a lot of information to take from
the
this
first
person. So this is.
Maybe we get the information
Or maybe
afterwards.
it's a friend of Katie's. They haven't talked in a while. Who knows?
We could knock out this
this-
easy question.
Okay, let's knock this question out. Put them on hold, Katie.
Okay, did we finish up with Andy from Wildwood, New Jersey about the wireless video?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so call Mid-South Audio, and Michael will help you figure out a product.
Look up Teradek. I mean, that's their main thing is wireless video. And if I guess Patrick may not be watching, but if he'll probably chime in later with some other things that they've used.
Okay. All right.
Now, we have a large international audience tonight, actually,
We do?
and this is a really local question, so let's go with this one.
All right, here we go. Caller number 2. Are you there?
Hi, yes.
We have caller number 2. Okay, who's on the line?
Hi, this is Matt McCowan calling from Ocean View.
Hi, Matt. How you doing? Thanks for
doing
participating in the show. We're going to give you this Roku box, and I guess we can just we'll ship that to you if Katie has your information. So
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Now, the reason we did that is because we're on TV Delmarva. Have you watched TV Delmarva before?
I have not watched TV Delmarva
Now you
before.
can watch TV Delmarva on the Roku box.
And you'll notice all the major networks are on there. You can tell this is an older box because TV Delmarva is not on here.
Right, there you go.
Netflix and Hulu
There you go, yeah.
and Showtime and HBO. So,
Yeah.
the newer boxes will
They
have
didn't have your logo yet.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's coming. Well, thank you. Thanks for calling, and thanks for participating in the show. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Excellent. All right. Thanks.
Cool. Well, now if the phone lines are not off the hook, that
Oh, he did? He had a question.
Oh, he had a question?
He had a question about cameras?
He didn't tell me what it was.
Did you
I
get his
told him
phone number?
I did.
Let's call him back.
Okay, we'll call him back.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we are on top of it tonight. But this is how we started 30 shows ago, and maybe we're getting back to our roots. So maybe
For better or worse.
yeah, maybe we started acting like we knew what we were doing. Okay. This is odd. Hey, Matt, it's us again. Hey,
We were just kidding about that prize. We don't really have one to give away.
No. No, Katie said you had a question and we cut you off, so we're sorry about that.
I do have a question.
Okay, good. That's what we do here. We take questions. Yeah.
Okay. I do camera at a local church, and we have pretty big stained glass windows. And every time I'm there, I meant to ask someone from MSA, because he's been in a couple times. And I was wondering, we get this kind of like glow from them. Obviously, they're windows, so light comes in. But I was wondering if a UV filter might kind of cut that. And if you have like UV paper that goes over them or something like that. Or if it's just not really a fixable thing unless we get curtains for our huge, beautiful stained glass windows. So
I will have to check
I'm
on the
going to let
UV
Michael answer
filter.
this
'cause
one. I think Michael's pretty aware of which church this is.
I am. And
Yeah.
I've attempted to make some
In Ocean View?
adjustments.
Large?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will look into the UV filter because I've never really heard of that, but it might be an option.
Okay.
Because
every time you're there, you're working, or
We know it's definitely a live, it's a white balance and light issue because the difference in light that's coming in those stained glass windows compared to all the theatrical lighting is just, the sun is overwhelming, and it can change the amount of ambient light in that room can change dramatically in a matter of
yeah,
seconds.
it makes the cameras struggle sometimes when the light changes.
And they're autofocus cameras, and it plays with all that. So that it is an issue. But that's a good suggestion.
I'm gonna look into that tomorrow.
You've actually made Michael scratch his head, and he doesn't do that often. So cool. We will check into that. So
All right, excellent.
I'm glad we called you back. So,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
okay, thanks.
All right.
Cool. That's actually a good suggestion. I don't know. That's
Yeah, I don't know if
that
it's
could
doable
work.
or not. I mean,
It couldn't. It probably wouldn't hurt.
no,
So
not there.
Worth a try. You've tried everything else. I mean, yeah, if it's one of the
it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
You can imagine if you're trying to shoot live video and you've got two huge windows that sunlight comes in directly, and
Yeah,
as
depending
sun
on the
moves-
angle, it's actually behind people sometimes.
Yeah.
right. I got a solution for you. Night services only.
You know what? They don't have any problem with their video at
really
night.
early.
Right.
There you
Hey,
go.
Katie's got some comments of folks watching on the Harrison Mix Bus.
Okay, cool. Hit us,
Facebook
Carrie.
page.
Caitlin.
Carrie,
Carrie.
new name.
How long have I worked for you, Kevin?
Dutch is watching. This is amazing. He doesn't even watch when he's here. He pays no attention when he's sitting here. We get a show. He's got a gig. He's working, and now he's watching. So, all right, here we go. Go ahead, Katie.
Some people were chiming in on the Harrison Facebook page. We've got people from Ukraine, Colombia, Taiwan. We're getting a lot of people in the international community.
Awesome.
And one of the people from Taiwan, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to read the writing, so I can't pronounce his name. I think
Come
he
on,
had
Katie.
It's all on you.
There's just no way, guys. He made a comment on an earlier discussion we were having. He said the inductor is an open circuit for high frequency AC and a short circuit for DC.
I said that. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Here we go.
It took me twice to get to it, but I did say that. Okay, go ahead.
A capacitor is an open circuit for DC and a short circuit for high frequency AC.
I left that out because I confused myself. Okay, yeah.
But the frequencies in between are varying in independences, and that's what gives you the frequency of the crossover point.
Varying in impedances. Yes, that's exactly right.
Just the capacitor and inductor, together they will resonate. The resistor dampens the resonance.
He's exactly right.
That's a pretty good explanation.
And if I'd had time to type that, it's exactly what I'd have come up with. So,
With a diagram.
Thank you very much. Yes, no, he's exactly right. That if I was misunderstood, that is exactly what I was trying to say. So
From Brazil.
and from Brazil.
Yeah, we
Okay.
just got another person from Brazil.
George Cumby is watching, and he suggested auto white balance and auto iris, and we're already doing those things. We've been down that road, George. Yeah, we're past that.
Yeah, the next step is we're hoping to get more consistent front lighting.
Or night services. Yeah, I think that might be the that might be the answer.
I'll let you make that phone call.
Yeah. And Sarah Grady's watching, who we work with all summer, and sometimes not in the off season, and she just wishes us a Merry Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to you, Sarah. So
Maybe you can get transitional lenses and put in front of these.
in front of the transitional lens for camera.
Just like you.
You're right.
Put them actually in front of the glass.
transition lenses. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
And bifocals, you don't even need zoom.
Right,
Just tilt the
exactly.
camera up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have I ever told you my Leo? Can I ever told you my Leo Fender story when I was in Leo's office at G&L Guitars? So we're looking through. You're actually allowed, if you get permission, to go in. This is an office. He was at work on a Thursday night, went home and died, and they preserved his office as a shrine to what he was doing. So it's the way he left it. And so our host encouraged us to go through the drawers and look at the drawings and the papers and everything. And I kind of felt strange doing that. And he said, "No, help yourself." So he had a big drafting. He had a big table of drafting drawers, and so I opened up the first one, and it was full of eyeglasses. And he said, "Open the second one up." It was full of eyeglasses. He said, "Open the third one up." It was full of eyeglasses. And he said, "You know who has the patent for transition lenses?" And I said, "No." He said, "Leo Fender."
Really?
Yeah, he held the patent because he was tired of doing this when he was drawing circuits and working. So he designed and sold it to Bosch & Lomb. Sold the patent to Bosch & Lomb. So fact is stranger than fiction.
Wait a minute. Transitions are the ones that tint, right?
No, transition from bifocals to
The bifocal.
the
okay.
bifocal, the lineless glasses.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, those. No, not that. It was a different point than Gino was making,
Gotcha.
but still,
Yeah.
you wouldn't think that Fender, who revolutionized the electric guitar and the amplifier, would have sold that patent to Bosch & Lomb.
We have a question about that.
Okay.
About that meeting.
Okay.
Meeting.
What meeting?
Yeah.
Jeffrey wants to know if you actually met Leo or were you just going through his office?
Rummaging
No,
through his
Leo
office.
was dead. Leo was very cold at the time. I know I've been a Leo
Before.
Fender fan I never met Leo, but I have some of his guitars.
I thought this was going to be a Fred Sanford joke. You remember old Sanford and Son? He had all those drawers full of eyeglasses, and he would pull them out. You don't remember that?
No,
okay. I thought that's where you were going.
No, that's not
with
where
it.
I was going. No, that was it. So, before we get to this next question, we ought to see if we can give away this, because this next
Give away that
question
mic.
is a long one.
You want to demo one of those mics?
We didn't do the.
Yeah, we still-
we didn't?
Georgetown.
We still got another one? Oh, okay, the
We got an
local
easy
one, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have all these international people. So there's a little town in southern Delaware called Georgetown, which is where we work, and this is about our little town.
Right, here we go. Lewis from Georgetown. And there's also a town called Lewis in Delaware, too.
George
but-
from Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys use to make snow at caroling on the circle? It's a great effect. I would like to add a snow effect to my home display so when my grandchildren come to visit, I could switch it on. By the way, Mid-South does a great job at caroling on the circle. My wife and I look forward to it every year.
We use an Atari snow machine, but I don't think it would work on your lawn.
It would be a little loud.
It would be very loud, and it would take an awful lot of snow chemical.
It depends on how big your lawn is,
Yeah.
and how many snow machines you wanted to purchase.
I mean, it's for a theatrical effect, and it gives you a thin line of snow, which makes it look like it's snowing, three-dimensionally behind you. So, but it is one line. What type of snow machine did the Oak Ridge boys have last week? That was different.
It was not an Antari.
But it was different chemical. It wasn't soap suds. It was something
It
else.
was some kind of alcohol or something.
It was alcohol
most
based.
snow machines are like a soap sud.
Yeah, but
I know
this
when I was in
this was-
Disney, it was soap sud.
This was alcohol based, so there was like no residue. It hit, and it was gone instantly.
But it was really big flakes.
But they were huge flakes. It looked like it was snowing snowballs.
Was it as loud?
I would say there were two of them, and they were not as loud.
Yeah.
A normal snow machine is extremely
Yeah, they're very loud. I mean, they're all rated with their noise criteria. So the more expensive they are, the less loud they are. So
And we've actually got a picture from Caroling on the Circle. Can you bring it up there, Colin, that picture I put in there? I think it's slide number 17.
Oh, this ought to be good.
This is an Ebenezer Scrooge sighting, I believe, without the sideburns. He shaved the sideburns. This was on a local radio station's website. I just happened to see it today. And
well, it was Caroling on the Circle that got moved inside, for one thing.
There's no picture of front of house.
And there I am. And there's Charlie, our truck driver, in the back playing My Bass.
right, and that's Kevin Short amongst lots of Sussex County, Delaware politicians there.
Yeah. That's going to cause us to have a lot of viewers. All right. There we go. All right. They're dropping like flies. All right. So let's give away the D5.
Give
all
away
right?
the D5.
We're halfway through the first hour. So we're going to give away this AKG D5 microphone. The only criteria is you got to be somewhere in the United States so we can ship it to you. That won't be a criteria in the last half hour of the show because it's download. So.
And we have one here that Austin's going to demo.
Oh, he's gonna
for us,
demo.
if you want to see how it sounds. So this is actually one of mine.
Oh, really? Is it the same color as that one?
No, that's the
That's an
anniversary
anniversary edition.
Oh, so you're not getting this one. This
Oh
is,
no,
You're
no,
getting
that
this
one's
one.
This is
that
much
one's worth
too-
$2 more.
Oh, certainly not a giveaway. But yeah, it's a microphone.
Yeah, it's a good sounding mic, and I
Sounds
use them
nice.
for remote
Yeah.
broadcast.
Yeah, it's their version of the
Yeah.
58
Yeah.
Handheld.
handheld mic. Not a lot of handling noise. Sounds good.
right, yeah, it's durable. I mean, it can be.
Yeah. We sell them a lot.
Yeah,
So-
that is pretty good actually. I didn't realize how quiet they were.
Yeah. It's pretty
It's
robust.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Is this cardioid, supercardioid, hypercardioid?
I think it's
No.
cardioid.
This is we are giving away.
I believe it's cardioid.
Yeah, it looks like a cardioid. I don't
Yeah.
think it says. It's dynamic.
Oh, we know that.
It sure
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that.
Or else we'd have to open your console up to turn Phantom on.
Yeah.
Extremely rugged spring steel wire mesh cap.
Yeah.
Yep. And
I'm sure it's a cardioid.
we'll go around and we'll read the different languages for our international viewers there. And start with
We
Kevin.
could probably post
He's gonna-
Katie's got the Taiwanese covered.
It's cardioid. I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it is. Sure.
And it's free.
And it's
And it sounds fun.
oh, there it is. I found it.
There it is. We got a polar pattern.
It's super cardio.
Oh, see.
So you can get more gain out of your monitors.
If you got
There
two
go.
monitors.
Yeah.
All
There
right,
you go. Super cardioid.
So what call are we taking for this?
I could draw the difference, but they all look the same when I draw them.
62.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Caller number 60.
I don't know. Caller number 4. I have no idea. So
Caller number 4.
the
right
phone
now.
lines are open, so that
How
should
about
not
the
take
ne-
anywhere
how about
near.
Do we
Next
talk to
caller
callers
before
1 to 3 or only number 4?
No, 4 from now, Katie. She's saying,
Yeah.
are we counting the first
No,
two?
we're not taking that. But don't make this any more complicated than it is. We can tell we're getting close to the end of the year because everybody's a little crazy.
Ready for vacation.
Yeah, between that and the pasta. Yeah, there you go. So
I would read questions here.
let's give the number out again. That would probably be a good idea because if you just tuned in and didn't get the number, and we also so it's 302
302-491-6484.
302-491-6484 is the number. And we'll take the fourth caller. We'll give you the AKG mic. And since we have a lot of extra viewers, we don't know. This is Colin Walls, who hosts the show with us. Mm-hmm. He reads the questions, and he owns TV Delmarva, and he kind of puts this thing together. I'm Kevin Short. I'm the owner of Mid-South Audio. These are a group of our esteemed technicians that join us. We're down one tonight because he is working. But next to me, I have Gino Bailey, Austin Carter, and Michael LeCates, and in the missing chair formation is Dutch Hine. So
that's right.
We set his chair up.
Yeah, it was like in honor of him, in memory of, you know.
And Michael tried to jump in it. So, you know.
He's got his headset on. He's using his headset and his mic.
Yeah,
and
we all thought that was kind of weird. But,
so, for anyone that's watching for the first time, this is what the show's all about. We take questions, we have a lot of fun, and we give away stuff. So, what were you saying? Oh, sorry. You want to jump in?
Just wanted to make sure we either have the fourth caller already.
We're working on him.
They're working on it. Yeah. She's counting. She's counting quickly.
There we go. Keep calling.
Yep.
Keep them coming. Keep them
lines
coming.
ring. We got a long question coming up.
Yeah, we should probably start now if we want to finish this question by the time the show's over.
Let's see. That's the fourth one, I think.
Yeah,
skip it,
I think this might be the second one.
Okay. Well, then, okay. Well, there's the third one.
There we go.
We could stall.
They're coming in. They're coming in.
I think we could probably keep this going.
We go through the paragraphs
until they. And is Patrick watching tonight? Have you heard from Patrick?
Not yet.
We're on our own.
Anybody from GNTV?
Wow. I wonder if they're having their. They could be having their. They could be having their Christmas party.
Could be.
Who knows?
I did see a comment on here. I don't know if we want to jump ahead to a quick
Go ahead.
question. I saw a comment from the Good Old Boys, the Live Nativity, and we have that question.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
So jump forward to 267.
Question number 267.
Okay.
And that's hard to believe. We've actually taken 267 questions on this show.
Okay, yeah. So this is from Richard from Georgetown. Said, I saw you guys working on the circle for the Living Nativity, the two lights on the angle. I think it was
the angel. Yes. Yeah.
but they were on an angle.
They were on
the
an angle,
right?
Yeah. And
it does say angle.
Stir.
It really does.
Yeah.
And stir.
Yeah.
All right, let's start that over.
The angle and stir.
Yeah. The two lights on the angel and star were amazing. I noticed you attaching speakers to the scissor lift. They sounded great and seemed small. Can you elaborate on what you used?
Yes.
The speakers?
Right after this call.
Okay, wait a second. We'll elaborate momentarily. Okay.
Okay.
Caller number 4? Caller number 4?
Hey, caller.
Is this caller number 4? Hello, who do we have on that end?
Hey, this is Jeremy Barbaro.
Hey, Jeremy, how you doing?
All right, Kevin, how are you?
So I don't have to ship this mic. I can just hand deliver it?
You can hand deliver it, and I probably should say my son Noah is the winner. He's the one who said, Dad, you really should call. And I thought, man, fourth call, no way, I'll get it.
Well, cool. Jeremy is the associate pastor at our church, so I can hand deliver this or give it to Kirby. So he'll see probably before me. So there you go. Did you have a question, Jeremy, tonight?
No, I just want to say, though, that I'm really looking forward to finally getting to go to the Carol Sing, hopefully next year. I hear wonderful things and never get to go. So
cool. Well, we'd love to have you. It's a lot of fun. So, well, thanks for calling. Thanks for being caller number 4. All right. That worked out.
That worked out good.
Yep.
You didn't have to ship.
Really dodged that shipping bullet.
You don't have to ship it.
That's dodged that shipping bullet. Yeah, there we go. All righty. Okay. All
right. So the answer to let's read this question again. I saw you guys working on the circle for the Living Nativity.
Yep.
And the two lights on the angel and star were amazing. I noticed you attaching speakers to the scissor lift. They sounded great and seemed small. Can you elaborate on what you used? Elaborate too, if you want, Kevin.
Austin was there. He took care of this, actually.
Yeah,
so
I attached those speakers to that scissor lift. They were Community R.5s.
HPs.
Yes. And they are small, and they are very loud, and they actually sounded pretty good. Mm-hmm. And the scissor lift went up about 22 feet in the air, so they were covering a great
the whole
deal
circle. Pretty much.
The backstory on this is the town council had passed a new law. They couldn't have an unattended nativity scene in the circle in Georgetown. So a group of volunteers in our area called the Good Old Boy Network,
or Good Old Boys Foundation.
Good Old Boys Foundation, got together and came up with a staffed living nativity for like the 14 nights from when this all controversy started till Christmas
The
Eve.
11th to the 25th, or 10th to the
20
24th.
And they
yeah.
put it together almost literally overnight.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's a living nativity, and they've got to it has to leave the circle every night. It's got to be put away. It's being stored in the fire hall. So we had to come up with a couple lights to light the star and the angel, and we had to come up with a sound system that they wouldn't have to set this thing up. So it's attached and sitting inside the lift. So they have
unplug the speakers and drive the lift to the fire hall and
right.
drive it back to
and the two lights were just two ellipsoidals, like 19-degree ellipsoidals,
something like that.
yeah, that are probably 50 feet away, and they do. I mean, the angel's in this huge winged costume that's bright white,
It's like
and,
8 foot tall.
Really,
we're
really,
talking about, yeah.
it really pops. So, and the star was white.
I went
so.
through as they were taking everything down the other night, so I just missed it.
Yeah, they weren't there tonight because it was raining, but they're going to be there every night until Christmas Eve. So, okay,
Wow. All right, and are we ready for this question?
here we go.
Earl from Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Buckle up.
Okay.
Yeah, hold
Take
on.
a deep breath here. I might need a drink in the middle of this. I have a drink of soda. I have a recording studio question. I will attempt to keep this brief as possible.
Yeah,
Lots of information to convey.
I have found when anyone starts their question, when I'm going to keep this brief,
Right. I'm going to give you a short
It's
version.
like
It's not.
graduation speeches.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. First, some background about the band and the project. We're a 4-piece rock band, 2 guitars, bass, and drums. We have played in various cover bands. This band is only playing originals and has a standing gig once a month at a local pub. We all have limited recording experience. This project would be 10 to 12 songs for a digital release and maybe a few copies we could sell or give away at our gigs. Everyone in their band is in their mid-50s with the exception of the drummer, who is 45. We all started writing together and have about 30 songs that we perform. Most of our original material could be classified as alt country with strong vocals. 15 years ago, it would have been straightforward rock and roll. Now it's got a little more twang. There are 2 semi-pro studios in our immediate area. Both are run by solid guys who have a good reputation. We prefer to record closer to home and do this on a reasonable budget, but we have no illusions of stardom. This is just to document the writings we have done over the past 5 years and get our music to a wider audience. Anything more than that would just be icing on the cake. We've heard recordings from both studios and know both owners. Both studios use Pro Tools, have a nice mic collection. What I will list below are the differences.
Yeah, if you thought the question was over, now here we get to the question.
Should we recap just
Studio 1.
Yeah, Studio One.
Studio 1 is located in a basement of a 2-story home. It's in an isolated area, no restrictions on noise or recorded times. Although weekends are preferred, the rate is $50 per hour with 12-hour blocks on weekends for $500 per day. Studio does have a variety of
Outboard microphone preamps.
a Verity or outboard. So it's a variety of outboard microphone preamps. And I personally like the sound of the speakers. Not sure of the brand, but they did have a sub. But no console, just a computer. There are 3 rooms, a drum room, main room, and small control room. Ceiling height is about 10 feet. This is a split-level home, so no steps are involved with the equipment setup.
So that's Studio One. All right.
Studio 1. All right. And what did he say, 5 studios?
No, Studio 2. No, it's either or.
Studio number 2, located in a 3-car garage. Slightly more floor space, but the ceiling height is 8 feet. This house is in a residential neighborhood. Not a lot of isolation to the outside, and so recording time is restricted. No recording past 10 p.m. in the evening, and even though weekends are preferred, sessions cannot exceed 6 hours of recording time. This does not seem to matter when mixing, only when playing live. There's also only room to park 3 vehicles. They suggest carpooling. The rates for the studio are $250 per song for 4 songs and $200 per song for 10. After discussing our project, we were quoted a discounted flat rate of $2,000 for all 12 songs recorded and mixed with no time limitations. There are no isolation rooms except a utility closet for 1 guitar amp. The recording engineer sits in the room with you while you record, and you mix in the same room, which is quite large. The microphone selection is nice, and this studio has a vintage Ramza, is that what it is? Ramza console connected to the Pro Tools system. All right, so that was Studio number 2.
Yep.
All right. I hope I have given you enough info. I won't tell you my preference, but I will say that the band is split down the middle between the 2 options. I told the guys about your show. I didn't even know someone who was recorded in your studio, so I was hoping to get the unbiased opinion of the panel. We plan to begin the project in 2020. I will say that this, if it were closer and we had the time available to do it one sitting, we would come to your facility, but that's not an option for now. Thanks for taking my question. If you need any additional information, please email me. Thanks in advance. That was Earl.
All right, let's just go around and take the
consensus.
Weigh in on this. Yeah, what do you think?
I'm not a studio guy, but having the actual isolation rooms seems like a good thing. So Studio One.
Paying per song seems weird. Is that weird? I don't
That's
know.
not in some like in Nashville. That's a big deal.
Really?
A lot of home studios have like per song rates.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just not familiar with it. I suppose
That's not the industry standard, but it is. It's not odd. It is done. So does that take you away from 2 and go to 1?
I've been on 1 the whole time. I vote 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I myself would have voted 1. I like the more intimate kind of space and without limitations, and it just seems like that's and nobody's getting kind of screwed over at that point. You're kind of paying for what you get.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd have to go with 1 because of the convenience factor. I think there's isolation rooms, and I mean it is by the hour, which is not unusual. But only being able to record at certain hours and having to carpool, I mean that's going to be only they. I mean, sure, it's a residential neighborhood, and the guy has probably 3 spaces, and he probably has to park his car in the garage or whatever, and I mean it's probably a mess. But I think that would we have always tried at our studio to not limit the vibe of the band, let them have free reign of the place. You don't want to bring anybody down, and you start imposing all those rules. I think it's going to be uncomfortable. However, I'm going to take a completely different stab at this. I would go with studio number 3. You're in Fredericksburg, Virginia. You're within 80 miles from Washington, D.C. There's a handful of great recording studios in D.C., and I don't think they would end up spending any more money because you'd be in a pro environment for people that would wait on you hand and foot. They would have a limitless amount of microphone collection, and I think you could go into Bias Recording or to Omega or some of those places with a $2,000 budget and come out with 12 songs if you were ready to go. I really think that would be the case, and I guarantee you the product would sound better because these are $1 million rooms,
Right.
where hit record after hit record after hit record has been recorded, and you're close. I mean, that's the thing. So that's what I would do if it was my budget. I get it being close to home, but
of the 2, if you only had to choose,
1.
you would choose Studio One.
Yeah, I go with 1.
Okay. But there's a third option in your mind.
In my mind, I think they're leaving the big option off the table because, and some people are concerned about that. I mean, there's people that don't we probably lose customers because they think we're expensive, and sometimes it's not. The service that you get at a studio like that is now the other option would be, we're going to have Harrison Mixbus on later. Is to get prepared for that next step is to get a rig at home, do some home recording, make sure that you've done a lot of pre-production, so when you go into another studio, that you're as prepared as you can possibly be. Or maybe you can take the mixing process and actually do it at home or whatever. But so there's ways to actually prepare for this, and it seems like these guys are a little older, and maybe they haven't even considered that as being an option. But I would think that. But between 1 and 2, if those are my limits, it's hands down Studio One.
Mm-hmm. All right. Katie has some online comments and questions, maybe. Is any about this question here?
We do. We've got a Dylan Shaw who agrees with Kevin on Studio One. He says, I concur, go big or go home. And he's one of the main ones. A lot of the people seem to be saying Studio One as well. And then we also have people tuning in from all over the world. We've got someone from South Africa. Apparently it's 2:38 a.m. there.
Wow.
And we've got
Must be a musician.
Yeah.
Up that late.
Someone a little more local from North Carolina.
We just said local in North Carolina in the same sentence.
a little more local.
Yeah.
And then we do have some questions.
And Patrick's back. He's on.
I saw.
He's getting ready for his Caribbean Christmas that starts tomorrow.
Yeah, he just had to tell us that.
So, yeah. So thank you, Patrick, for sharing.
Dustin wants to know how we feel about coaxial studio monitors.
They're time aligned.
I know how I feel about coaxial stage monitors.
Yeah.
I like them.
I mean, that's the whole idea behind a coaxial monitor is that the low end and the high end emanate from the same plane in time, and they're time aligned, so it doesn't take any outboard processing. And we have coaxial monitors in our actual studio. We have Yuri's, and then we have non-coaxial monitors in the control room. So I mean, the micro wedges were coaxial. Coaxial speakers,
I've installed quite a few, and I've always liked the way they sound.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely there's a different vibe with a coaxial speaker. A lot of times their polar pattern is conical, so that can. But in a control room setting, I don't think it really matters that much. So I'd say go to it
in the right setting.
Yep, they're great.
Okay. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left until we have.
Do we have caller number 4 yet?
I think we already gave it.
No, we did.
We did.
We gave the second one.
Actually, I think he has a question. That was Jeremy, right?
Oh yeah. I can't believe we just did that.
He posted a question on Facebook.
Okay.
Another
question?
He was saying, Noah has a question he'd like to ask. We know that MSA makes it feel like Christmas in Sussex County and around the country. Approximately how many shows has MSA booked for the month of December? Is December busier than other months or less so?
I don't know about December, but we did a count the other day, and we're over 500 shows for the year.
Wow.
So I don't know.
December picks up, I think, more so on the rental side. A lot of churches, but we do quite a few events.
I mean, it feels like there's a ton of Christmas stuff always.
There is, yeah.
December's busy,
There's more shows towards the New Year side of it this year.
Yeah.
But June's our busiest months.
Yeah, but total.
This is right behind him.
Are you leaving tomorrow to go to DC? That's the next day.
That's Thursday.
That's Thursday. Yeah. Austin will be mixing the Fox News Christmas party.
All right.
At the Dubliner in DC.
Did that last? You had that gig last year too.
Did that
right?
last year? Yeah, new band this year.
Right.
So
Actually, not a DJ or a rap show over there.
Yeah, not a rap show.
There is a band this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool.
All right. So we've got about 10 minutes until we take our break, and then we're going to come back with Harrison Mix Bus. So how can they win the Harrison Mix Bus software?
Todd Noggle from Harrison is going to Harrison Console is going to be joining us on the phone, and we encourage everybody to participate either by Facebook, by typing in, or by calling in, and we'll select a winner from someone who calls in, and we will open this up to international participants because there is no freight involved, and you can just download the software, and they're giving away $600 and some worth of software.
Yeah, almost $700.
Yeah, lots of plugins and the Mixbus 32C is a great product. So, in fact, I was reading about it a lot today. Gino was listening to me read about it a lot.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It's another story. So that was an inside joke.
All right. Joey from Richmond writes in. Joey says, Ashley from Metro Music in Richmond turned me on to your show. I've only seen it live once, but I think I've watched all the archives. Thanks for doing this. No one in our area has a show like this. In fact, that's what the guys at Metro were talking about when they mentioned your show to me. I think you guys pick on Dutch too much. He seems to have a lot to say. Oh, he does. And but he doesn't get enough lighting questions.
I think the panel would argue with that, but go
an
ahead.
Appropriate level of picking on Dutch.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if Dutch is a player or not. Oh, he's a player. Is what but it's okay with me if you all chime in. I've been a guitar player since high school.
Now, right here, we should have Dutch take this question. That would be the one he probably would not chime in on. Yeah, get him to call in. Dutch, go ahead.
Let's see. I've been a guitar player since high school, but I've never jumped into the electronic side. I want to start, I think it's supposed to say, fooling around.
Fooling around.
Yeah, with modifying one of my old tube amps, either a Fender Deluxe or a Fender Bassman.
Ooh.
I would like to add a reverb circuit to the Bassman for kicks. I've done some reading on the subject. I'm handy with tools and woodworking, but I've never soldered anything. The guys at the store recommended How to Service Your Own Tube Amp, a complete guide for the curious musician by Tom Mitchell. Have any of you read this book, or is there anything else you would recommend? Hey, can you get that crazy guy that wants speakers in his rocks to call? That would be cool.
Yeah, cool. Exactly. Yeah. I'll go last. If you guys
How to Service Your Own Tube Amp, a complete guide for the curious musician.
I will tell you what, that is the industry standard tube electronics handbook. If you know nothing about tube electronics and you want to read Tom Mitchell's book, that starts with the absolute basics. He explains every tube circuit. We were when I was in college. We tubes were over with, and outside of maybe some transmission stuff about RF transmitters, we never even got into tubes. And so I had to kind of educate what little bit I know about tube circuitry. I learned from Tom Mitchell in a couple of his books. This one is the most popular. There's another book that he wrote that I don't think this one's still in print. I looked it up when I saw this question. You can actually still get it on Amazon, or a lot of places actually. But there's another book that he has. It's a little more high tech. It was like the second. It was the follow up to this. There's a couple other good books, but this is a really good book. It's a great resource. And here's the caveat, though. I wouldn't recommend that anybody start fooling around with electronics for the first time inside a tube amplifier.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I think starting with a transistor radio, or maybe making your own little clock or something, or a metronome, or maybe your own mixer or something. But sticking your hands inside something that generates 600 volts with a lot of current that could kill you is probably not the best way to start, because it's dangerous stuff.
It is. Yeah.
They burn you. They're hot. They can shock you. And they sound good, but they sound good because they use a lot of current, and it's not. I don't know that I don't remember. I remember reading the book. I read it multiple times. I don't know how much, but there's a big safety section in that book where he talks about being safe. There's guys that play through guitar amplifiers that have the polarity in the wrong position and walk up to a microphone, and there's a grounding issue, and have literally giving themselves 110 volts between their guitar strings and the microphone, and falling over.
Ouch.
Yeah. So it's that's not. If I was going to play with electronics, starting inside a tube amp would probably be my. I would work up to that.
Right. Take your clock radio apart.
Wouldn't be my jumping off point. Yeah. Yeah. Get a theremin kit or something. Build a synthesizer at home, or something like that. So.
Okay. So
anyway.
we've got an international question. Katie, can you? It's a long question, I think, but she's going to try to shorten it and make it brief.
Okay.
Got about 5 minutes left. 4.
We've got Ron from Brazil. He says that he knows that Van Halen's signature brown sound comes from him running an amp on a Variac to manually adjust line voltage. Years ago, Dan Elector, if I'm not mistaken, used to sell a power supply with different voltages to change the sound pedals through voltage. His question is, could this damage the amp or the pedal if we run them on different voltages? Variac would be safer way to do that without damaging the amp, or do I run the risk of damaging it beyond repair?
Yes.
What was that band? I'm sorry.
She meant to say Van Halen. So she
leave me alone, Austin.
She didn't know. Okay. I don't know that had anything to do with the brown sound.
Brown sound.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, a Variac is an AC transformer. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they're it's about so big. It's got a big handle on the top, and it lowers AC voltage. And the theory is, if you crank the amp up and decrease the voltage, it distorts earlier, and it gives you a crunchier sound. Tom Schultz made a product years ago. Tom Schultz was the guitar player in Boston. Yeah, thank you. And he created a lot of gadgets. He had a device called a Power Soak, which was but a whole bunch of resistors networked together, so you could crank a Marshall amp up to 11, and then it would the Power Soak would take all the power instead of the speakers. So the amp's running at full bore, all the tubes are glowing, but there's very little voltage going to the speakers, and it's not very loud, but it sounds like it's at a screaming volume. Because guitar amps, if you want that sound, you got to crank them up to do it. Now, there are some amps that decreasing the voltage will damage. It's an experiment. That's why the Power Soak kind of came off the market, because people were using it, and they would end up, they bought a $200 effect, and they would damage a $1,500 or $2,000 amplifier, because their amplifiers are made to run at a specific voltage, usually 110. In the U.S., and they're meant to play into loads that are into an inductive load, not a resistive load like a bank of resistors. So when you take that away and you run them that hard, you can risk damaging the product. However, it's kind of fun to play with. At least you're not inside and getting getting shocked. So
I bet it sounds cool before it blows up.
It does. It sounds really good. The Power Soak was a great device. Those things would get red hot. You could actually see them just start to shake. It was cool. anyway.
All right. Yep. Good answer. We got a couple more online questions we can squeeze in. We've got about a minute and a half left. About a minute left. Katie?
Caesar said he's a beginner in a beginning music producer. Does he need an outboard equipment?
Yes. Yeah. You got to have something.
They got to have a mic.
You got to have a mic.
You got to have a mic, and you got to have something to get it into your computer.
Yeah, but I mean, everything else, can be in the box.
Sure.
Outside of that, but the answer to do you need outboard equipment, is you have to have some sort of interface to convert what we're doing into an electronic signal that you can record and manipulate.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's basically, and we'll talk about that with Todd later. Everything else you need is in the box.
In the box. Yep.
So, we get that?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
And it's about time, Kevin.
And we've got 13 seconds to our break?
Yes.
Okay. So when we come back from the break, we're going to be joined by Todd Nagel with Harrison Consoles. We're going to talk about all things Harrison Consoles, including MixBus 32C, and their giveaway in the last half hour of the show. And all you have to do is be a participant to win that prize. And if you could just join us in about 30 seconds, we'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around.
Tech Talk Live. Join the conversation now. Email your questions to info@midsouthaudio.com or call us live on the air. 302-491-6484. Live. Tech Talk Live. Join the conversation now. Email your questions to info@midsouthaudio.com or call us live on the air. 302-491-6484.
And we're back. It is the 8 o'clock hour here on the East Coast, and we are going to be joined this half hour. I'll tell you a little bit about who we're being joined with. Todd Nagel is a software engineer and engineering manager at Harrison Consoles in Nashville, Tennessee. He received his Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering Technology from California University of Pennsylvania and a Bachelor of Science in Recording Industry Production and Technology from Middle Tennessee State University. He joined Harrison in 2000, and his first task was to implement the control surface operation of their MPC console using the company's IKIS software platform. He enjoys helping customers and incorporating their feedback into the company's products. And on the line from Harrison Consoles tonight, talking about all things Harrison, is Todd Nagel. Todd, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool. We're experiencing an overwhelming amount of international viewers tonight. So I think you guys are responsible for that.
We might have something to do with that. We do, I think the last count, we've sold our software product into like 168 countries around the world.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's you're probably responsible for this then. Yeah, it's directly related
like
to you.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for joining us. We've been having a lot of fun tonight. It's been a kind of a laid back, random show for us, but we have been enjoying it. We had a recording question earlier. Did you listen to any of the show before you went on?
Yeah, I was listening. I may have missed the recording question.
Oh, the recording question was a guy that was trying to pick studios. He was
yes, I did hear that.
Okay,
one. Yep.
and so I suggested that what he might want to do is get some recording software and do some pre-production at home before they actually took the leap into going into a studio. And I'm sure that a lot of people use your product for that and do their own mixes. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons to have your product, but that may be one of them. Do you find? Tell me how people use Are we going to? I guess we're going to be talking about Mixbus 32C mostly, or
we can pretty much cover the whole range of them. We have two versions of Mixbus, but I'll answer your question first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think people do use it. They use it for everything. They use it for. We have people use it to do actual professional,
right,
studio owners, people who have home studios or professional studios that are using it. We have people, bands.
I just see a news release
our product manager for Mixbus, his band, he records with Mixbus all the time. They record all their practices. They use it. It's just kind of a utility tool you can even use for.
Did I see the other day that there was a Casey Musgraves cut that was just released? It was that was done on Mixbus. Did I see that?
Well, it wasn't done on Mixbus, but that is actually through a Harrison Series 12 console.
Okay, all right.
Greg Alvin is an engineer in Nashville, and he owns a Series 12, which was a analog console, fully digital, recallable, digital control of analog. So it's fully recallable, and he runs. So he uses whatever software. I'm not sure what he's using at the moment. He did just pick up a bunch of our plugins and stuff. He started using them recently, but I'm not sure what the Casey Musgrave stuff was used.
So
play out, but then they played it through the analog console.
Cool.
To do the mix.
Wow, well, that could make a big difference. So, Harrison Console started out as a manufacturer that made custom boutique or high-end analog consoles, and became quite good at it. Had a great reputation. Was in a lot of studios. I was in it. We did the band I'm in just finished a record recently. We finally closed the door on a 4-year project, and one of the last studios we worked at in Nashville actually had a Harrison console in it. So there's a lot of your analog consoles that are still out there. But then tell me how the company kind of evolved from that. You kind of went into other markets like TV and film, and then you ended up being on. So walk us through that story if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, the console was founded by Dave Harrison, who was an engineer. Oh, got to throw in. I'm going to be brief here because
There you go. Okay.
Got to keep it brief. So Dave Harrison founded the console, the company, and actually he was a designer. He designed some of the early MCI. So if you go back in your console histories, I believe it was the 400 series he was involved with. But anyway, he was also an engineer. He did engineering on a lot of records and stuff around Cincinnati. Can't think of the name at the moment. But anyway, horn player, really great engineer guy. So he started a company, and they started making a lot of music consoles. The original music console is the Harrison 32C. Was the first console they came out with in 1975. And so it was used in a ton of studios and stuff, and albums. ABBA, all the Michael Jackson, Thriller, and Bad albums are both mixed on Harrison 32C consoles. And then a whole ton of other stuff. Queen, A Kind of Magic, and The Game, that stuff was mixed on Harrison consoles. And then, so the way we got into film and other products along the way is he was always pushing the edge of what he could do with technology. So he moved into the digital control of analog, and they made the first recallable console in the late 80s, 87, 88. It was called the Series 10, and it was fully automated, fully recallable back then, analog console. And that they used on a bunch of great stuff, too. Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation was mixed on that. And so that was what led to the film business for us, because the music guys could take it or leave it on the automation and recall. But the film guys, it was a huge benefit to, because when you're changing audio every scene in a movie, you need to be able to make quick changes. And so the recallability was the huge draw. And that led to our MPC console and our Series 12 console, which were huge around the world for film mixing and post-production. And so we did that for a lot of years, and we've also made TV consoles, broadcast consoles, radio consoles, and a little more up your alley. We also, there was a console called the Show Console, which Showco, the large live sound company who is now owned by Claire, or they merged years ago, where Everclear owns them. They actually, we collaborated with them. They came to us, and we designed them a live console that's probably one of the most expensive live consoles ever made, and it was a fully recallable analog touring console.
I remember one of those. Was it one of those a monitor desk at the Grand Ole Opry for a while?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
Those consoles ran all over the world, U2 shows and Madonna, and because those were recallable before all that stuff came out. It came out like a year before the PM1D. So
wow.
It was right in that gap before digital stuff really took off. So.
There's definitely a long pedigree for Harrison consoles. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so the majority of your customers at that point, being in the pro studio business and in the film business and the TV business, would have had to be the absolute music professional. And these consoles were not cheap. These were extremely expensive desk, and
yeah, they were.
So, but all of a sudden, you went from the extreme high-end client to putting that all in a box and in a software package that opened your market up to consumers all across the board from that had all kinds of different needs, and so you started offering everything that was found in these hundreds of thousands of dollars of consoles that now they could have that's running in their computer. So who kind of came up with that idea there because I think it's a great leap. I mean, to take something that was unattainable.
We had the technology. We eventually moved into digital, consoles,
right,
and DSP, and have an amazing DSP guy. And so we had all this technology around, but we're console guys. We sit in front of consoles when we're working. We sell them to people, and there was just always something wrong about sitting at a DAW to everybody that worked there.
Right.
The mouse, the way the screen worked, the way you couldn't see very well what was going on with your plugins and your gain staging and we just didn't like the interface. And at one point we set off to make a plugin. I'm not sure whose idea it was. Probably our product manager, Ben, or probably his idea, I would say. And they started down this path of making a plug-in because everybody said, why don't you make a plug-in? And it still didn't feel right to us. And so we made Mixbus. Instead, we decided, instead of just making a plug-in, we would take a DAW and kind of make it more console-like and make it much easier to get a sound quickly, which was what we were used to, sitting down at a console and turning knobs and pushing up faders and seeing everything. So that's what we did. We made Mixbus, and you can see exactly what's going on the screen.
I think we have
a real mixer.
We have a picture of the layout of the screen we're going to bring up here. And for members of our audience who have not seen Mixbus or not had the pleasure of working in it, the cool thing about this is that unlike any other software, it emulates all the functions of a mixer. It looks just like something you would sit down to and start mixing. And that's kind of its basic difference. There's differences in the sound and everything else, but it's the interface that's the cool thing. I mean, I know I use Mixbus on my laptop, and that's the cool thing about using it. The learning curve, if you've used a console, is a lot easier. And you can see everything that's going on. You can see where the plugins are and how everything is routed without going through multiple pages. And it also has an editing view. You can go through that page and see it. It looks just like a regular DAW, but it's that console interface, I think, that has set you apart from everybody else.
Yeah, well, that's what we were going for, and it's really how we envisioned you're supposed to work. And it's really about getting the good sound quick. It's what our customers have taught us over the years, our professional customers. I mean, when someone's paying you to do work, you want to, get that work done efficiently.
Well, I know the first time
I never felt efficient to us, and so this is efficient. You can sit down and make a mix sound great really quickly.
I know the first time that I downloaded the software, I brought home some stems from the office. I loaded it in, and within an hour after downloading it, I was mixing a song, and it's that. easy to use, and it's so recallable, and you can pick up the next day, and it's like when you recall your session, it's like you see the console come back the way you left it. I mean, it's kind of a different process than it's really. We've got a lot of questions here that are coming in online, so we probably ought to stop chatting and take some questions. You ready for that, Todd?
Yeah, let's do that.
And anybody that wants to call in and talk to Todd or anybody on the panel and has a specific question, the number to call is
302-491-6484.
But right now, I think, Katie, you have some you ready with?
Yes, we have a lot of questions. First, someone asked if commenting is good enough to enter you into the drawing, and it is. So comment on Facebook. You're part of a growing list of people who have a chance to win. One of the first questions we got was... Sorry, I'm scrolling up quite a bit. Phil wants to know if the MixBus 32C is available in both 32-bit and 64-bit versions. Is it compatible as a VST3 or just VST2?
Todd?
It is currently just VST2. It is still available in 32-bit and 64-bit versions. I think that's slowly, the 32-bit is slowly coming to an end. People have, but we're trying to hang on and keep support for that for the few people that we have left for that. But.
And then we've got Roke, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's chiming in from Costa Rica. He says he's already testing MixBus and can say it's a change in the game in the studio. He wants to know what kind of improvements the Harrison team have in mind.
Wow, that's a good question. It's kind of, there's always something going on. User feedback is a huge thing. It's never going to be, our plan is for it to always be a great engineering and music recording tool, but we definitely see that it is missing MIDI features. You know, if you're sitting in your house and you need to do a little bit of MIDI, put down some more tracks, you can use MixBus right now, but it is definitely not the most streamlined thing for that. It's more of a recording and mixing system. So future plans are definitely to improve MIDI, improve some looping features and things that some of the more contemporary artists are using, you know, live looping and playing back clip launching and things like that. So those are a few things that are on the to-do list.
We have kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment here, and then another question. Eric Carge writes in, and he says Mid-South should make a plug-in called Gino that makes stuff sound better. Want a better vocal sound? Just throw some Gino on it. So that
we can do that for you.
Yeah. See, I mean, we could probably get the guys from MixBus to do that. The next question was any plans to add an ARM Linux version to MixBus?
Probably not. I mean, it is definitely possible, but the demand's not particularly high.
Okay, all right. We have a call. So, caller, you're on the air or on Facebook with Todd Noggle from MixBus and the guys here at Tech Talk. So, how can we help?
Oh yeah, hi. I was just curious if MixBus had any utilities or like any tools to make it easier to convert back and forth from like for Pro Tools users.
It does. There's a the easiest thing to do is always you can export stems, which then and bring tracks in as already rendered files. It means that way you don't have to worry about plugin compatibility or anything like that, which is nice.
Right.
And there's definitely tools to help you do that in MixBus. There's a stem exporter that makes it easy to throw out your stem files to take back to Pro Tools or whatever. And there is actually it's kind of beta version, but there is actually an Pro Tools import mode, which at least gets you your regions and audio files back on the correct track location. So that's kind of a beta feature that's been in there for a little while. It's still kind of under testing, and your mileage may vary on that. But the goal of that is just to get your your timeline back from
your mileage may vary. That may be the quote of the night. Caller, I'm sorry, we didn't get your name and where you're calling from.
This is Brian Honer. and I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, great. You have any other questions?
No, that's it for right now.
Have you tried Mixbus yet?
You know what? A couple of years ago, I tried just the regular Mixbus, and it's very impressive sounding. I have to say that.
Great. Well, maybe we can convert you to be a Mixbus 32C owner, and thanks for calling. Thanks for jumping on the line with us.
Thanks.
Todd, you're giving away Mixbus 32C tonight, and also a large amount of plugins. You want to talk about the plugins, because that's what I've seen that's changed in your product line. You've got a lot more plugins available than you did when I became a Mixbus user.
Yeah, we're adding them slowly, but there's quite a few nice essential things in there. You know, when you get the DAW, if you're just getting into music stuff and you have no plugins, some of ours will at least get you up and running to a good start. But they're actually really good. So we're giving away. There's some delays in there. There's some reverbs. There's some really good. Actually, some of the coolest. You're a bass player, so I don't know if you've ever played with the bass character plugin, but I really think that's one of the coolest plugins.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That we make. It tracks the fundamental of a bass guitar note, and then allows you to either add more fundamental or more harmonics. So you can totally change the kind of the sound of a bass. If a bass is muddy, it makes it easy to pull out a lot of that mud and kind of give it a little more clarity by adding some of the harmonics. It also helps it translate onto, adding the harmonics helps it translate on speakers that can't quite produce the fundamental as well as they should.
I was mixing on mixing a song where we recorded an upright bass, and we recorded it direct, and it was also recorded with a room mic, and so the microphone was a little muddy, and the direct input, just kind of lacked the warmth of the mic. But with that plug-in, you could really get the best of both worlds. It was typically, when you've got that scenario, all you can really do is some EQ and some volume blending. You just mix the two together. But with that plug-in, you could drastically alter the sound of both of those inputs and come up with a really cool composite sound. I mean, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's a really handy. There's also a vocal character. It's based on the same thing. So for a singer, you can, it'll track the note that the singer is singing and then allow you to either pull kind of like the harmonics or the fundamental.
Now, the one thing that people may not realize, though, people that come from other DAW worlds are used to the plug-in method, but you're coming from a console position for doing this, and the console already has EQ and dynamics on all your channels.
Yeah, that's one thing. In Mixbus, every channel has a nice EQ and a compressor on every channel as soon as you insert it in the program. So you're using plugins basically for special effects or, surgical needs. You got some really problem track or things like that. The basics are provided just in the normal software.
And that's something you don't get with another DAW product. You've got to you have to assign a plug. If you wanted a compressor, you got to assign because this is console based and it's based as a console layout. There is a there's a compressor on every channel, and there's an EQ, and then you've got bus compression, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the output section of that console that just really starts to sweeten things up.
It does, and also the output section's kind of an interesting because the tape saturation is
absolutely over the top. It makes a huge difference.
Well, and that goes back to the way it's a workflow thing. In that when you were recording the tape, you're laying down tracks to tape, you're getting a little bit of tape compression, on the way in, and then when it comes to mix down, you're playing back. There's already just slightly compressed tracks from the little bit of tape compression they got, and you're going to lay it back to analog tape, which is going to get another round of tape compression. And so when we design Mixbus, it's purposely designed that way. There's tape compression on the mix buses, we call them, which are the group buses, and there's also a tape compression section you can turn on the master bus. So it kind of emulates the traditional recording style. There's two passes kind of tape saturation before you get to the final,
And that control is not subtle. I mean, there's a lot of it there. You can add quite a bit. I mean, it's really you can learn a lot just about what tape saturation sounds like just by playing around. It's kind of fun just to play with, and see the difference because
our DSP engineer spent months with a tape machine.
Really.
Yeah, that's actually where that came from. It's not an emulation of any particular tape machine. It's more an emulation of the actual physics, the what happens when you run sound to tape. And he just sat there and tested it and played with it. I mean, he knew the general things, what happened, but he kind of characterized the overall what happens.
There's a couple of questions that are coming in here on Facebook. It says 32C has been working great on several generations of Mac, and I have Pro Tools HD at my disposal, but the low frequency of the 32C sounds like a real console, and the interface is so much faster and easier to mix on. I can't say I don't need Pro Tools, but it sure is fun to mix on a console-style interface. So that's a pretty big endorsement for someone who has access to both and notices. No, and what are they talking about? It's not the workflow. It's not anything else. They're talking about the sound. So, there is definitely a noticeable difference in the way 32C sounds.
Yeah, it's really the whole thing. It's the in the end, the DSP. It's the setup. It's the tape saturation. It's the buses. It's the kind of way we kind of point you to how you should mix. You should group things together.
We're getting a question about is the compressor multiband. I know you have a multiband plug-in, correct?
We have a multiband plug-in, and let's see, is it in the pack? I believe it is in. Yes, there is a multiband compressor plug-in in the pack that we're going to give away.
Excellent. We're coming up against the clock here, and Katie's got an online question. So, Katie.
Okay.
Hi.
Apparently she wasn't ready for this online question, but here she is.
Well, people keep on commenting, which is great. We've got a lot of viewers, but when they comment, the question goes away. I have to find it again. I believe it's Andre wants to know if he can import Avid Composer AAF files into Mixbus. He's the audio engineer for a St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and he's using Pro Tools to edit, mix, and master their videos.
Was that the AIF format?
Yes. Yeah, Avid AIFF. Yep.
Yes. We can, I'll have to double check the fact, but I believe that is true. That we have a fact on our website that lists all the formats we can import, and I believe that is on it. So.
Cool. All right, we've got about 3.5 minutes left here.
Yep.
And we'll take another comment. Is there anything else you want to mention that we haven't covered before we have to end the show? We're up against a hard break now because we run on TV Delmarva, so we actually have to do this like real broadcasters. So
okay, that's fine. The only thing just for the people who don't have Mixbus, or maybe you have some other DAW, we do make a line of plugins now that are AAX, audio unit, and what's the other one? VST. So, like, if you have some other DAW, maybe you're not interested in Mixbus, you're pretty happy with where you're at, we'd like you to come to Mixbus. But we also make some plugins that sound really great, that work in any DAW.
And that's a brand new market for you.
That is, yeah. Previously, all our plugins were Mixbus only, and so we've just recently, kind of this last year and a half, maybe, started coming out with ones that will work anywhere. So.
We have a real quick call that we're going to try to squeeze in here. We've got about 2 minutes left. So, Katie, can we get that call on the air? Real quick. She's taking their name.
Quick question. Hopefully a quick question. I've seen a lot of people asking, will VST3 plugins be compatible soon with Mixbus? I've seen about 10 people ask that.
Yeah, I'm hoping soonish. So it's definitely on the roadmap of something to add.
So it's coming. We've got a call real quick. We got about a minute and a half, caller. Thanks for calling Tech Talk. Who's on the line?
This is David, studio engineer in LB Studios in the Bronx.
Okay. Thank you, David. And your question for Todd?
Well, basically, I wanted to add to all the good stuff you guys have been talking about. Mixbus is certainly a game changer. I own Pro Tools HD, I own Logic, I own Studio One, I own Reason, I own Machine, and I haven't turned any of them on in a long time.
Wow.
So, I know. And trust me, the support in Mixbus is great, because even though I own most of these other softwares, I need to put in a ticket, I need to put in a whole lot of things to get the help I need. Whereas when you come to MixBus, you send them a mail, there's a chat, there's all that you need to get what you need to get done, right? Besides that, you have a console that sounds like an analog console. So you get everything. You don't have to bring in plugins. You don't have to bring stuff that's going to make the mix muddy. So in actual fact, I think for people who wasting their monies on all these other Pro Tools and all that, they should just consider it. Because it took me a week to change my whole setup.
Wow. Well, that's a great endorsement. We've got less than a minute left, and we've got to give away this software package. Thank you for joining us. Todd, stick around. We're going to take about a 15-second break, and then we'll come back and give away this software package. All right, Todd, are you still with us? We have Todd still on the phone?
Should be.
All right, we're back. Todd, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, we've got about 20 seconds left here. We wanted to say, was it Todd from Brooklyn? Is that who called? That was our first. Brian from Brooklyn was our first caller. And that's going to be our winner, if that's okay with you.
Sounds great.
5 seconds.
Okay, 5 seconds. Thank you, Todd. Thanks for joining us. Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you next month. Good night.